I'm back in the garage. It's very cold here in Denver. It's like 20 degrees right now. My garage is not heated, so I got a little space heater going. Basically today I'm gonna be going through how to make a DIY swing out or a tire carrier. I built this guy out of scrap metal maybe 8 months ago or so. It worked really well. It stayed on the truck just fine, but I made my own kind of race bearing setup for the hinge section, and it was just kind of starting to fail. It was kind of bouncing off the back of the truck. So that's what we're gonna do today. I have some metal laying around here. I'm gonna go ahead and cut some things up and do some welding, and then I'll just kind of film the process, and maybe that'll help somebody build something of their own. So yeah, here we go. It's only like 20 degrees in here right now. I'm using a space heater and a buddy heater, and I just went through my first tank of propane, so see how much I can actually get done today without freezing to death. This is gonna be the main bottom bar. Cut it to what, 60 inches, which is I think exactly the length that I'm going to need it. My truck's sitting right out there, but it's snowing and cold, so we're just gonna do as much as we can in the garage today without having to mess with that too much. We're gonna have this sucker on here like that. This is gonna be the main bottom bar, and then we're gonna build up from this to mimic something similar to that. I'm unsure yet if I wanna use circle tubing or square. I think I'll probably use square again. We'll get some angles cut here, and then we'll sit on there like that. Honestly, I think the square tubing will probably be a little bit more structurally sound anyways. Just gonna do some more measuring real quick and then get these guys cut. I do think I will take this outside and clean it up real quick. Come back in, do some measuring, get those cut, and then we can start tacking them into place. So what I was just doing, I like the angles that this swing out was on. So basically what I did was just hold up one of these pieces. Behind that, traced over the top, got my angle. I made the first cut, and it was a little more slanted than I would have liked. So I just got it to a place where I'm happy with. So basically, this is gonna be the first bar. I'm not even sure what angle we went with. It looks like we're roughly 30 degrees. So now this is my first cut, and what I'm gonna do is trace this guy onto this guy, make the next cut, and then we'll have a pair. We'll have most of a triangle ready to go. I do believe that I'm gonna space them out how this is, and then bridge the gap on the top, and then figure out the rest as we go. Got these two pieces cut, got the angles that I would like, so those match up perfectly. Basically what we're gonna do here now is find a place for these to live, tack them in place, and then we will cross brace from this piece to that piece, and we'll have ourselves a little triangle here. All right, so I got it all tacked into place. It's coming together super quick. I definitely feel a lot better about the 2-inch steel. Got this little top hat, so that will finish it off up there. And then I gotta figure out, you know, the support and then where the neck is gonna come off and actually hold the tire. That's all gonna happen here shortly. Just wanted to stop and show you where we're at. Gotta do a little bit of cleaning up to make this line up a little bit better up top. So I'm gonna go ahead and get to that and then weld these in place. Got it all burned together. I'm still gonna make some caps. Gotta do cross bracing and then get the neck in there so we can actually hold a tire. Overall, this whole process just to get to this point maybe took an hour. Granted, I did have to like kind of clean up the metal and stuff. If you have new metal, probably take you 30 minutes to get to this point. So it looks good. I'm happy with it. It's a lot of smoke in here, so I'm gonna go and hang out in the house for a minute, let this calm down, and then get back to it. Still have a lot to do. Still gotta get this guy, get this piece notched out, and then get this welded in place, and then cap these holes. I have some scrap steel laying around, so I'll cut that up and pretty much just make a plate that lays in that hole, get that sealed up. I'll have to do the same down here and then start to figure out the latch system at some point. But yeah, it's just coming together. I'm gonna keep chugging away and get these holes plugged up real quick. She's all welded together. It's all sealed up except for that end. And then this end is where I'm gonna start to next. Pretty much take this guy, get a little angle cut out of this, and then get this sucker welded on. Just got the cross bracing done, and that's all welded in there. I left a little gap just because I thought it kind of looked cool, but whatever. This will come off. I want to set the tire at a different angle. It was just pretty straight up and down, but I do think I want to give it a little tilt forward. It's still snowing and it's dark outside, so I will do all that stuff tomorrow, hopefully, depending on how cold it is. And then also get the handle / lever situation figured out. Day 2 of working on the Swingout, almost finished up here. Got a couple more things to do. Just noticed that the 4X Innovations kit that I bought, I was looking around for some scrap metal for something to build this section with. Didn't even realize that it came with it. Silly me, right? But, so got to get that put together. Comes with this guy, comes with that, the race bearings. Got the pins in there to stop your swing out at a certain point. It's got everything. And then comes with like a license plate mount. And yeah, the whole 9 yards. So we're gonna do some more welding. It's still pretty cold out today, but I think I'm gonna open up the door and kind of get this lined up on the truck. I have some hard mounts on the back of the bumper that I did that I'll show you guys. Basically, the tube bumper doesn't offer enough stability to run the Swingout and the tire off of, so I just ran it straight off of the frame rails. The Swingout at the end of the day is still removable, but it's only removable from this point right here. So, you know, pick and choose what works best for you. If I had a solid plate bumper, I could definitely run it off of that, but I'll go ahead and dig into all that stuff and show you guys what we're working with. So this is kind of what I was talking about. Basically, I built this bumper just kind of out of scrap metal. It's held up, you know, over the test of time. I have been beating it on rocks for the last 1.5 years and has not fallen off, hasn't bent, hasn't came apart or anything like that. So all the welds are holding up. But basically what I was getting at is right here on the frame rail, I have welded this guy in there and it comes straight up and straight out. Kind of hard to see, but straight off the frame rail and straight up and out, and that's where the clasp lives for the Swingout. I did that because I truly just didn't want to test putting all that weight on the bumper. And also I threw this Swingout together in like a couple hours. Like there wasn't much planning into it. Now that I've had this, I ran it for about 1 year. I just kind of know a little bit more where I stand and what I want. I have to cut this clasp off and then replace it with this new guy right here, a little bit bigger. We're gonna go ahead and get this removed and replaced. Hard to get a good level going because it's so slanted over here, but I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it. I think I'm gonna try to get this tacked on there and see where we're sitting. If I don't like it, I will knock it right back off. The goal is to kind of sticks on a lot farther than the last one. Not too bad. It won't look as crazy once the whole swing out set up and everything's on. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and hold this swing out up and see how she looks. Got this tacked in place and I'm not super unhappy with it. Don't really have a ton of options as far as moving it. I do have to find a way to bring it out at least about an inch. So this is the problem we're running into. Right. She hits. And I mean, my hatch is gone to shit, so I could potentially just cut it or hammer it in, but don't want to do that. So time to shift, figure this out. So what I ended up doing was basically just rip this off of the tack welds that I had on. It was sitting something like that, so barely hanging over. If I move it over literally like 2 centimeters and make it flush, she clears. And also this side of my hatch is taking a beating and started to go into shit anyways, so just kind of pushed it over like a ½ inch. Now she fits great. So I'm gonna get this tacked back together. This is the only rust on the whole truck and it is not attached to anything important, so haven't really gave it too much attention. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get this tacked back on. I will go ahead and run through all the same tests to make sure that it clears everything, but then I think I'm gonna go ahead and weld it on. Got a little creative here. It's kind of a 2-person job to hold the swing out in place and keep everything level. I had the clasp tacked on there, and then when I held it up, basically it was just kind of drooping downwards this way. Just stuck some pieces of wood in between the bumper and the hatch right there, and honestly it did a pretty good job of holding it exactly where I needed it to be. Spaced this out, got it all nice and squared up and level. I am very happy with how it's turning out. I did get one tack on that clasp, so I need to weld that in. And then I was just checking this gap right here, cutting it a little close, but I don't think this thing will have much movement in it at all. I also think that I want to go ahead and just cut this top section off, and then I'll seal up these holes. Just looking at it now that it's on the truck, it's just a little tall, and where the tire will sit is going to come off of these braces anyways. So this upper section doesn't really offer any kind of stability or reinforcement. It's just kind of extra. So I think we're gonna cut that off and get it welded up. I'll be able to pull the swing out off, put it back on as many times as need be to make the final tweaks, and then we're gonna cut this a little bit shorter and figure out the latch system. Not in a super rush, so I'm just kind of playing with it now and seeing what's gonna work the best. All right, it's nighttime. Just cut this little section off of the end here. I did leave one of the flaps, just folded it over, and that is gonna get welded in. And then I believe I have a plan for the latch. Basically, this is just going to weld onto the edge of the handle like that, and then I will make the clasp on the bumper. So we're gonna see how it goes right now. I got the handle welded in place. I used a 90-degree gusset to make sure everything was nice and sturdy. I got the locking pin tacked on there and all the holes lined up nicely. So I didn't film the process of me actually installing the swing out on the truck, but here's everything fully installed. There's the clasp and the race bearing over here on the right side. Got the tire neck installed on the swing out, as well as the latch and handle system figured out. I mounted a little tab onto the bumper itself. And here, as you can see, everything's lining up nicely, latching and unlatching just how it should. Here's the finished product. I got the spare tire mounted. The only thing I have left to do is get everything painted black, and then that's it. So unfortunately, I did film that swing out video 6 months ago or so. Lost a couple of the videos since then, so I don't have the clips of me actually getting it mounted on the truck and talking about how I did any of that stuff. So I'm just gonna go over that real quick and make sure I didn't skip over anything, and then see how it's been holding up over the last 6 months. Since I filmed the swing out video, a lot has changed on the truck, obviously. I've had the swing out on the truck for about 6 months, maybe a little more even, and it's been holding up amazing. I didn't go over the process of me making this little latching point, so I'll do that real quick. So this piece that it's actually mounting to came with the 4X Innovations kit. It's basically just a solid steel cylinder that they kind of give you and allow you to mount it however works best for your application. For me, I just took 2 steel plates and mounted one into the bumper and then one into this little platform that I welded onto the bumper. Just kind of played with it where my bumper was sitting and where everything needed to be. The bumper has just a tiny bit of sag to it. Gonna go ahead and just blame that on a 37. Overall, that hasn't been an issue at all. So, I mean, it doesn't take much. I mean, I'm doing this one-handed, so set it up there and then, yeah. She still locks. The 4X Innovation kit has been holding up awesome. The race bearing and clasp and everything like that has been great. There hasn't been any issues with that. It hasn't come loose. The handle hasn't came loose. It hasn't wobbled. It hasn't ever came undone on a trail. The departure angle has been awesome. At first, when I put it on there, I said that it sticks out a little bit far. I've been doing stuff harder than I've ever done lately and haven't even gotten close to the ground with this bumper or the swing out. So overall, I've been absolutely loving this setup so far. So I did make a couple of these little license plate holders. That is what is holding my license plate at the moment. I did have it self-tapped into the bumper, but self-tappers are just weak, and over the time period of a couple months, rattling and everything, the heads of them broke off. I didn't want to deal with having to just keep replacing self-tappers over and over, so for the time being, that mount is zip tied to the bumper and it's been holding up great. I got this little light here off Amazon for like 10 bucks. It's wired into my running lights, so whenever I turn the running lights on, I still have a license plate light. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and open it. Super easy to open the swing out. I have another one of these stopping pins over here on the handle. Pull that, comes right open. The stopping pins engage on this side as well every time you open the swing out, so it's not gonna just swing open and hit the car beside you, or just be flopping around back here. So this is the first mounting point, and then there's a second hole back here as well, so you can get it open a little bit wider. Grab your little stopping pin, and that's it. So that's pretty much everything for the swing out video. I went over the whole process on how I DIY'd this one on my truck. It's gonna be a little bit different on everybody's vehicle. It also just depends on what kind of bumper you're running and what your wants and needs are. I know some people do double swing outs and have all their jerry cans and everything else. I wanted to go kind of minimal. This is pretty basic. It was relatively easy to make. There wasn't a lot of design or planning going into it. I just kind of slapped something together that I thought would work. And then, as you could see, I tweaked it and made changes as we were going along. I've been super happy with this build. I haven't had any issues, so it's gonna be on the truck for as long as it lasts. That's gonna be everything for this video. And yeah, thanks for watching.